Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a while since my last video. It is now 2026 and springtime is around the corner. Most people have purchased these plants in December, and today we will show you how to repot the plant. Normally when you buy in a store, they use compost soil, so we're going to go ahead and remove that and use our mixture of sand, pumice, biochar, a little peat moss, and perlite. In this particular soil here, there is no perlite, mostly pumice and sand. Okay, we're going to replace these gunk here with this. Okay, and these are the possible tools that you might need to use. Some alcohol, spray bottle if you are going to be trimming some of these plants. Some clippers if you need them, maybe some of these plastic ribbons if you need to stake your plant, and maybe some kind of some sort of stake. In my case, I'm using bamboo. And here we go. Alright, first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this plastic covering. There's some dead leaves. You grab that out. Then remove that. Next up is we're going to go ahead and grab this. It's just easier just for cleanup purposes. Alright, down. I'll go ahead and if it's in tightly, usually it's not, just kind of squeeze the box. See if you notice how these are pretty nasty looking. Look at that. I mean, the roots are pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and clean it up. Okay. You can break it like this, which is probably an easier route. Take out some of this stuff. I tend to do is, if you want to be more accurate on getting this soil out, this is probably a better way of doing it. So I'll go ahead and take some of this. You're probably going to take some good roots with you, as well as some dead roots. I'm just going to go ahead and poke it, bang around a bit. I'll poke just a little bit of this. The key is to get as much of this compost out as possible. See, notice how some of these, particularly this plant, the roots are pretty fragile, so you might want to be careful. You can tap it out. There you go, that might work better. Right, take some of this stuff out. Okay, that's a good amount. Right, it's pretty good. You don't have to take it completely out. So leave this back in here. Oops. Something not to do. Leave it in there. All right, gonna dump this. Go. So we're gonna replace it with a new pot. In my case, since we're using sand, it tends to, it gets, it tends to come out from these holes because the holes are too big. So what I suggest to do for my case is I use these. These are poly. You can get cloth one, you can get plastic ones, however it might work. So you can use one of these. You just put it in the hole, just to block that off, and then slowly add in the sand. So I'm gonna grab one of these. Get the first one. Goes. Make sure the hole is nice and blocked. Obviously, there's a little finesse going on. Alright, you take the second one. Okay. Do exactly the same thing on this side. Awesome. One more on the other side. This pot, I think it might be a 3-gallon, could be a 5-gallon. Looks like a 3-gallon more than anything. They tend to have around 3 gallons. You tend to have 4 holes. As you go up to like 15 gallons, there should be 5 holes. Pack that up. What you do is just going to fill the sand up to a certain amount. Okay. This one up. Go. Alright, go ahead and grab this guy here. Pull a little more sand. It's about right. Okay. Put this in. Just center it. Add in the sand. Okay. Normally, if you use sand, you don't really need a prop like a stake, because sand is pretty solid. It really gets the plant down. Normally, if you use compost, you would probably have to use a stake. But as far as sand goes, it's really good because it's heavy, and so being heavy, it tends to maintain the surface area a lot better as far as plant goes. So in my case, I don't need to stake it. In most cases, if you do repot, sometimes what they suggest is cut some of the leaves to relieve some stress. If you have too many leaves and you disturb its roots, then replanting it will cause stress, and sometimes it would lead to plant dying. But in my case, it should be fine. Key thing about this is once you replant, you want to keep it in shade for about at least a week, but just half shade and the other half sun. One thing you got to consider when you repotting, especially in sand, is that sand does not have any nutrients. So what I usually do is I would use Osmocote to start off, so it can release the nutrients. So I'll just throw in 1 scoop. Then what I would do is I would get some organic in my case I have Fox Farm, so get a scoop of this right here and use it as a top layer to top it off. So it gives it using the Osmocote will give it some time for the actual organic stuff to finally penetrate into the sand and will give nutrients to your plants. But if you just start off the organic right away, there's a waiting period. So that's why I use Osmocote just to get the jump start on it. Alright, once you top it off, you can go ahead and relocate this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in an area where it gets some sun and some shade. So maybe in my case something like this. Actually, I can probably put it in here. Definitely I can put this in here. Just give it a bit of sitting here for a bit. Sun's coming down soon, so hopefully it's not too bad in there. Alright, next up we're gonna go ahead and change this pot, this bok choy that I bought, and we're gonna put it in a bigger pot. Alright guys, check out plants and in sand. Look at all the roots on here. This is my eggplant that I grew last year, and it is now I've been neglecting it, but look at all these roots. Literally the whole entire pot is full of roots, and this is just through sand. Alright guys, make sure after you repot your plants that you're going to go ahead and water it. So I'm going to go ahead and re-water this. Make sure it drenched it pretty well. Guys. Alright guys, so we're gonna replant bok choy that we bought from the store. Pretty easy to do. Usually when they're in these containers, the smaller ones, you don't need, it's not necessary for you to remove the existing soil. What you can do is just go ahead and pull this out, put it into a new pot. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace this into a bigger pot, and we're going to add the sand, the soil that I made, and we'll see how that goes. So again, I like to use this to cover the holes, so the sand will stay. And go ahead and pour the sand in here, one on this side, one on this side. I'm just reusing some of the old ones that I was using for the other pot. So the reason why we don't use compost toward our root, in most cases, not all plants is affected by this, but there are quite a few plants, a majority of plants, that do not like compost near their roots. What it does, it becomes sludgy, and it limits the amount of oxygen that your roots need. And usually when that happens at a certain level of oxygen that's for certain plants, it's going to cause root rot. And then when root rot happens, usually diseases appear on plants. If you notice, if you use compost near the roots, your leaves tend to be a little more yellow. If you use things that are more airy, like sand, pumice, perlite, your plant breathes better, and they tend to be more green. So here, what I'm about to do is I'm gonna go ahead and remove this tag here, and then we're gonna remove this. So again, we don't have to necessarily get rid of all the compost here, because the amount of compost that is on here is not enough to affect the plants. So we're going to go ahead and just leave it in there, so there's no stress on this. We're going to go ahead and fill this up with sand. So we're going to go ahead and pour this in. Okay. Hopefully we can get them all in. This side here. Alright guys, so we're gonna add in more sand to this pile. Sometimes you can shake it. By shaking it, you can tend to level it out. So, basically, the better your plants breed, the healthier your plants is, the quicker it grows. And less likely it has diseases. And obviously, the greener your plant is. So we're going to do that. Shake it a little bit. I'm going to go grab some organic. So we're going to go grab some organic. In my case, it's foxhorn. Hopefully that doesn't fall. We're going to go ahead and use our Osmocote quick release, just so we can get it started. And then we're going to go ahead and add the organic fertilizer. Okay. Organic fertilizer tends to be top dressing, not near the roots. So make sure you compact that down. Doesn't have to be too tight. Some of these. Oops, I'll go ahead and trim some of these. This one's probably trash. Got some of this. We can take it in. We're gonna harvest some of those so we can eat. So take some of that. Usually, what you want to do is just harvest the outside, or you can cut the whole thing. But I'm just gonna harvest the outside here. Let's see. I'll probably buy more because this is not enough to eat. So put one more here. There we go. Throw this one away here. There we go. What we're going to do is we're going to take this over here, and we're going to go ahead and water this. Since we really didn't disturb the roots, so it doesn't necessarily have to be in the shade. Actually, I'm going to bring it to the other side. All right. What I'm do is grab some water. Make sure you drench this. I'm just gonna add some water in here. Make sure you drenched it. Nice and wet. Give it a second. Might as well water this too while I'm here. Just give it a moment. Right. I tend to put my vegetables in pots because you don't get the insects, especially the slugs or the snails or all the bugs that can be on the ground. There you go. Water's dripping. It's doing its job. Excellent. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys learned something. And we'll see you next time on the next video.